if you watch this video until the end, you may never return to the person you are today. Because some life lessons don't motivate you, they wake you up. There comes a moment in life when something shifts inside you, quietly, deeply, and from that moment on, you are no longer the same person you were before. Not because the world changed, but because you did, because you finally saw the truth clearly, because you finally woke up. Don't just listen to these words. Sit with them. Because when one sentence stays in your mind, it's not the video speaking anymore. It's your life. Most people believe their problems come from the outside world, from difficult people, unfair situations, or unexpected setbacks. But the real battlefield has always been within. The mind constantly talks, judges, compares, and predicts, and if you are not aware of it, you begin to mistake its noise for truth. This is where suffering begins. The moment you learn to watch your thoughts instead of obeying them, a powerful shift takes place. You realize that you are not your thoughts, not your emotions, and not your fears. You are the one observing them, and that awareness alone creates distance, calm, and control. When the mind is undisciplined, it jumps from regret about the past to anxiety about the future, never allowing you to fully live in the present. This constant mental movement drains energy, weakens focus, and keeps you trapped in emotional reactions. Mastery of the inner world does not mean suppressing thoughts or forcing positivity. It means recognizing patterns. It means noticing how quickly the mind turns small problems into massive threats, how it exaggerates failure and minimizes progress. Once you see this clearly, you stop feeding those patterns, and what you stop feeding begins to lose its power. True strength is developed in silence, in moments of self-observation when no one is watching. When you sit with discomfort instead of escaping it, you train the mind to remain steady under pressure. Instead of reacting instantly with anger, fear, or self-doubt, you pause. In that pause, you reclaim your choice. You begin to respond with intention rather than impulse. This is how emotional intelligence is built, not through knowledge, but through practice. As awareness grows, clarity follows. You start to see which thoughts empower you and which ones weaken you. You realize that negative thinking is often a habit, not a fact. With discipline, you can redirect attention toward what is constructive, meaningful, and aligned with your values. This does not make life easier, but it makes you stronger. Challenges remain, but they no longer control your inner state. Mastering the inner world also means understanding that peace is not the absence of problems, but the ability to remain centered while facing them. When the mind is calm, decisions become sharper. When emotions are regulated, actions become effective. You stop wasting energy on overthinking and self-sabotage and start channeling it into growth and purpose. Over time, this inner mastery creates confidence that does not depend on external validation. You trust yourself because you know you can handle discomfort, uncertainty, and pressure. You become less reactive to criticism and less attached to praise. Your sense of worth becomes internal, stable, and resilient. From this place, focus deepens, discipline strengthens, and consistency becomes natural. The more you train the mind, the less it controls you, and the more you step into a state of clarity, presence, and inner authority that influences every area of your life. Most suffering does not come from loss itself, but from attachment to what we believe must stay the same. The mind clings to people, outcomes, identities, and expectations, convincing you that your happiness depends on them. When life inevitably shifts, that attachment turns into fear, frustration, and emotional pain. Detachment is not about becoming cold or disconnected. It is about releasing the illusion that you can control everything. When you understand this, you stop fighting reality and start flowing with it. Attachment creates anxiety because it places your sense of security outside yourself. You begin to fear rejection, failure, and change because they threaten something you are holding on to. Detachment removes that fear by grounding your stability within. You still care, you still commit, you still give your best effort, but you are no longer enslaved by the result. You act with clarity rather than desperation, confidence rather than neediness. When you detach, you gain perspective. You stop personalizing every setback and stop measuring your worth by temporary outcomes. Success no longer inflates the ego, and failure no longer destroys the spirit. You see both as experiences, not identities. This shift alone can free enormous mental energy that was once wasted on worry and comparison. That energy returns to you as focus, presence, and calm strength. Detachment also sharpens decision-making. When emotions no longer cloud judgment, you see situations as they truly are, not as you fear them to be. You stop chasing approval and start acting in alignment with your values. This is where real power emerges, the power to walk away from what drains you, to say no without guilt, and to stay firm in your direction, even when others do not understand it. In relationships, detachment deepens connection rather than weakens it. When you stop needing someone to complete you, you meet them with wholeness. You listen better, communicate honestly, and respect boundaries, both theirs and your own. Love becomes a choice, not a dependency. Presence replaces possession, and trust replaces control. Detachment also teaches patience. You learn to plant seeds without demanding immediate results. You work consistently, improve quietly, and allow growth to unfold in its own time. Instead of forcing outcomes, you focus on effort. Instead of obsessing over the future, you commit fully to the present. This creates a calm persistence that is incredibly difficult to break. As attachment fades, inner freedom expands. You realize that nothing external has the power to define you unless you allow it. Praise and criticism lose their grip. Fear of loss diminishes because you understand that whatever is essential to your growth will remain, and whatever leaves was never meant to be permanent. You move through life lighter, clearer, and more resilient, able to adapt without losing yourself, able to face uncertainty without collapsing, able to stand firmly rooted within while the world around you continues to change. Motivation is a spark, brief and unreliable. It comes and goes with your mood, your circumstances, and your environment. One day you wake up feeling inspired, ready to conquer the world, and the next day that same fire disappears, leaving only excuses and procrastination. Discipline, however, is different. Discipline is a decision, a commitment to action regardless of how you feel. It is the bridge between dreams and reality, the constant force that moves you forward when emotions fail. The moment you understand this, you stop waiting for fleeting inspiration and start building a system that produces results day after day, whether you feel like it or not. Discipline requires showing up consistently, even when the task is difficult, even when the path is uncomfortable, and even when no one is watching. It is not glamorous, and it rarely feels exciting, but it compounds over time in ways that motivation alone never can. Every action you take, no matter how small, adds up. Each disciplined choice creates momentum, strengthens habits, and rewires your brain to prefer growth over comfort. You begin to see that success is not a one-time event, but the outcome of repeated effort, executed with precision, patience, and persistence. The most important part of discipline is mastering resistance, the voice inside that urges you to quit, delay, or take shortcuts. Resistance appears in many forms: laziness, fear, self-doubt, distraction, or even procrastination disguised as busyness. Discipline is the act of acknowledging that voice without surrendering to it. It is deciding that the long-term goal, the vision you have for yourself, matters more than temporary comfort. Each time you act despite resistance, you grow stronger. You train yourself to endure discomfort, to push through fatigue, and to stay committed when others would falter. Discipline also shapes character. It teaches patience, focus, and resilience. It forces you to prioritize what truly matters over what is convenient or pleasurable in the moment. You learn that shortcuts rarely lead to lasting success, and that real achievement is built through steady, consistent effort. This is why those who rely solely on motivation often fail. They wait for the right moment, the perfect feeling, or the ideal circumstances, while disciplined individuals create momentum regardless of conditions. Moreover, discipline builds confidence. Each day that you keep your commitments, each time you resist temptation, each moment you choose effort over avoidance, you prove to yourself that you are capable. You stop doubting your abilities because you have the evidence, results, progress, and personal growth that no one can take away. This internal confidence becomes unshakable because it is based on action, not luck or external validation. Over time, discipline transforms not just your work, but your entire life. It affects your health, your relationships, your mindset, and your ability to handle adversity. Habits become automatic, your focus sharpens, and your energy aligns with your priorities. You move with purpose, clarity, and determination. Life stops being a series of reactive decisions and becomes a reflection of intentional action, deliberate choices, and unwavering commitment.